Coming up on Falcon Weekly, shutdown stalemate. With 3 days left until the federal spending default date kicks in, Congress is pressured to make a deal to end the shutdown. We've got the latest from Washington.
Also, find out what controversial procedure one Alabama lawmaker is proposing for sex offenders before they are released from prison.
And your Facebook privacy may be at risk. Find out what privacy feature Facebook has done away with. Falcon Weekly starts now. Hello and welcome to Falcon Weekly. I'm Heather Buckner.
And I'm Jennifer Corona. Thanks so much for joining us. Washington stands at a stalemate as it crawls through the 14th day of the shutdown.
With President Obama meeting with congressional leaders and some senators expressing optimism, is there an end in sight? Reporter Melissa Rainey has the latest.
Fresh off meetings Monday morning, Senate Republican leaders gave an update on their progress on reaching a debt deal.
We're on the right page and in the right paragraph.
We're making progress. We're going to continue to meet throughout the day.
Meanwhile, President Obama visited a D.C. food pantry where he didn't mince words, calling the shutdown completely unnecessary. He once again urged Congress to put aside their differences.
And if Republicans aren't willing to set aside some of their partisan concerns in order to do what's right for the country, we stand a good chance of defaulting. And defaulting would have a potentially devastating effect on our economy.
As the Senate reconvened mid-afternoon, Majority Leader Harry Reid and his Republican counterpart Mitch McConnell both said they are optimistic.
We've had an opportunity over the last couple of days to have some very constructive exchanges of views about how to move forward. Those discussions continue, and I share his optimism that we're going to get a result that will be acceptable to both sides.
I'm Melissa Rainey reporting.
An Oval Office meeting between Obama, Biden, and congressional leaders from both parties has been postponed.
Today, national parks and monuments such as the Grand Canyon, Statue of Liberty, and Mount Rushmore are back open, but states and private companies are footing the bill to open these national treasures back up to the American people. But one federal monument that isn't open is the World War II Memorial in Washington, D.C. Over the weekend, veterans traveled to Washington determined to visit the memorial. Veterans and protesters began removing the barricades blocking the World War II Memorial and piling them up right outside of the White House fence. The rally began after the Million Vet March decided to meet at the memorial even though it is closed during the government shutdown. Appearances from Sarah Palin and Ted Cruz escalated the situation until eventually police dispersed in the crowd and shut down the streets. The blockades have been returned and the memorial has once again been closed off to the public. Veterans aren't the only ones trying to bring back their parks. Runners are also protesting the closing of national parks by running through them. In Pennsylvania, dozens of people participated in protest-run Valley Forge National Historic Park Sunday. Organizers staged the event after runners were ticketed for jogging through the closed park near Philadelphia. The tickets were $100 each and are allegedly violating the closure order and parking in the popular park. Several running groups took part in what some called a Patriot Run to express their frustration about the shutdown.
Beneficiaries of food stamps and WIC are still in an uproar after not being able to feed their families over the weekend, which many believe was due to the government shutdown. If you weren't able to buy groceries using food stamps over the weekend, you weren't alone. Debit-style federal benefit cards for SNAP and WIC, both government food programs, stopped working in 17 states, but it apparently wasn't related to the government shutdown. Turns out a computer failure is to blame. A Xerox spokesperson said it happened Saturday morning during a routine test of the backup systems. The system is now back up and running, but some beneficiaries might still have trouble accessing their benefits until technical staff fixes the issue.
Nearly 2 weeks after the rollout of Obamacare website, there have been plenty of technical glitches and a few explanations for them.
Some experts worry that fixing it could take a very long time. Reporter Elizabeth Cohen shows us how frustrating trying to enroll can be.
I put in my username and password and it didn't recognize it.
Error messages, page not found, system down. It's been a tough nearly 2 weeks for Obamacare.
There were error messages or that little annoying kind of like twirly thing.
I
where
hate
you,
the twirly
you
thing.
Hate it, right?
I've been trying since day one to get an account and log in on healthcare.gov. I failed again
We couldn't make this page work.
and again
It wouldn't log me in.
and again.
It's not working.
When I've called the 1-800 number for help, the reps tell me volume is high and to try again during off-peak hours. So I tried at 10:30 at night, 7 in the morning, and still it didn't work. So finally, I set my alarm clock for 3 a.m. Sunday morning. But guess what? The system was down for maintenance. I'm not the only one having trouble. On Facebook, people took to the healthcare.gov page to vent by the thousands. And on CNN's iReport,
I've tried it literally hundreds of times since October the 1st.
independent analysts tell CNN the problems go way beyond high volume and minor glitches. They say the site fails to follow even basic protocols in its coding.
There is still time to enroll over the phone or by snail mail. You have until December 15th of this year to enroll for coverage to begin at the start of 2014. The government shutdown may prevent hundreds of thousands of federal workers from going to work, but it won't stop you from paying your taxes. The IRS won't have any workers to take calls or help taxpayers in person. More than 90% of their staff is on a government-wide furlough. But the agency says the Tuesday deadline for filing extensions still stands. Just don't expect your refunds until normal government operations resume. Let's switch gears to news from a little closer to home.
Falcon Weekly's Brett Bell joins us with a look at stories making news in our state.
Thanks, Heather and Jennifer. Our first story takes us to Greenville in South Alabama, where a man has been charged with murder after shooting his girlfriend over a game of dominoes. Police say 29-year-old Jamal Taylor has been charged with murder after he fatally shot his girlfriend, 24-year-old Ashley McDonald. Sunday night, according to official reports, Taylor got into a fight over the game, pulled out a gun, and started shooting into the air. One of the bullets hit McDonald, killing her. Another man was also hit. Police say his wounds are minor. Taylor is being held in the Butler County Jail. In state politics, an Alabama lawmaker is proposing a controversial bill for the 2014 legislative session. Republican Representative Steve Hurst is trying to pass a bill that will require sex offenders over the age of 21 whose victims were 12 years and younger to be surgically castrated before being released from prison. According to the bill, sex offenders would be forced to pay for the procedure themselves. This is the second time Hurst has tried to get the bill passed in the state legislature. Currently, there are 9 states that have chemical castration laws for sex offenders. Birmingham residents have filed a lawsuit over a UPS plane crash that happened at the Birmingham airport over the summer. On August 14th, a UPS cargo plane crashed near the Birmingham Shuttlesworth International Airport. The pilot and co-pilot both died in the crash. The aircraft went down about half a mile north of the runway near a street running parallel to the airport. The plane broke into several pieces and left debris over an area about 3 football fields long. For Birmingham residents are suing UPS and the airport for damage caused by unsafe flight patterns over their homes. The complaint says the cargo plane clipped trees and damaged homes and other buildings. UPS is not commenting on the lawsuit. In other state news, law enforcement officials in Alabama want more troopers on the road. State Secretary of Law Enforcement Spencer Collier says estimates show that it would take about 1,100 troopers to adequately patrol the state currently. Alabama has close to 400 troopers on patrol. A new law that reorganizes law enforcement employees to help put more troopers on the road is being created, but Collier says that it will still fall short of the goal of 1,100 troopers. And that's a look at stories making news around Alabama.
Thanks, Brett. Across Montevallo, dozens of students are missing class because of a widespread illness. Coming up, hear what you can do to prevent coming down with that and what some students are calling the Montevallo plague.
And with Halloween right around the corner, many folks may be inclined to hand out nerds and pixie sticks as opposed to chocolate. Find out why chocolate prices are going up. These stories and more when Falcon Weekly returns. Welcome back to Falcon Weekly.
Last Thursday, students and faculty enjoyed a break from classes to celebrate the 117th Founders Day.
The celebration kicked off at 11 a.m. when faculty and students lined up on Main Quad before filing into Palmer Auditorium. Andrew Fancher, Emily Wilbanks, and Mason the Puppy, who we interviewed last week's show, were recognized for finding the crook. Then, this year's keynote speaker, Michael E. Stevens, addressed the senior class. Then seniors donned their graduation gowns for the first time. Following the ceremony, faculty, students, family, and friends enjoyed lunch on the quad. Topping off a day full of events, Founders Day came to the close with the 16th annual Life Raft debate. After rounds of arguments and rebuttals, mathematics Scott Varagona took home the coveted oar. Dr. Varagona's win marked the third time for mathematics professor to win the final spot on the fictional raft. More than 800 people attended this year's debate, and more than 600 votes were cast with a record number from the online audience. At Founders Day, UN President Dr. John Stewart announced a major donation given to the Department of Communication to expand the Mass Communication Building.
Let's head out to the future construction site with Falcon Weekly reporter Amelia Bennett and Department Chair Dr. Sally Hardig.
Okay, thanks guys. I'm here with Dr. Hardig. Now, how will the MassComm and Comms departments benefit from the expansion of the MassComm building?
Well, the obvious reason is because we are one department and we're located currently about as far across campus from one place to the other as you can possibly be. So that's going to be the primary benefit, is just the proximity of the two programs coming together. There have been a lot of initiatives that are ongoing, that have been going on for the last couple of years since we became officially the Department of Communication, including the PR minor, hoping to get the minor into a major. And as soon as we do that, we're really going to need to have all of the faculty and the students in one place, because it's just so much easier. And really, I think that's the best thing. We're growing so fast. We have the second largest department in the College of Fine Arts, and we have the largest minor in the entire university now with PR. So with those numbers comes a need for space, obviously, and so that's going to be probably the best benefit.
And how much money was donated, and who was it donated by?
Well, we were very fortunate to get a leadership donation of $250,000 from Mike Strong and John Paul Strong. Both of those are alumni of the university. John Paul is actually a communication studies graduate from 2002, and so he's probably really going to get to see the benefit of that. But they made a leadership donation, which means that they've committed to helping donate the rest of the money to get the renovations completed.
And what are some things that we can expect to see with the expansion?
Well, we hope to have at least 2 classrooms, because we need to replace the 2 that we have over in Reynolds for communication studies. We'd like to have a lab. Of course, we need the faculty offices, and I'm not really sure. We're so in the very beginning stages of everything, but hopefully it's just going to be able to allow us to relocate over to this side of campus, in addition to adding some space for the new students and the growing numbers that we have in our program.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Harding. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Amelia. A timeline for construction has not yet been determined.
In other campus news, the brothers of Alpha Tau Omega are all moved in and loving living in their new house. Over the summer, the ATOs renovated and moved into the former Delta Chi house. Falcon Weekly reporter Kayla Hackett sat down with some ATOs to find out how they hope their new home will improve their fraternity.
Alpha Tau Omega has always been one of Montevallo's well-known fraternities. From their theme parties to fun philanthropy events, they have always strived to be the best. I spoke with several ATO members on their thoughts of the new house.
This new house represents a new era for Alpha Tau Omega. We've got a new whole new pledge program, a whole new group of guys coming through that really are setting new standards for this fraternity. And I think this house is just one of the many ways that we're really proving that and showing that we mean business.
We want to be those guys that you know who we are. You know, we're not just some guy you see around campus. We're an ATO that you see around campus all the time.
Since I'm just a freshman, I have not had the privilege of being able to live in the house, but since the house is so much larger, I am hoping to one day be able to move in. Right now, currently all the rooms are filled, but I'm hoping something's going to come up.
With the new house, it's a new future for us. It's also a lot bigger, and it gives us more freedom because like now we can have parties. We don't have to worry about sound as much because we used to live in a residential area. Now, you know, it's us and nobody else around us.
The Brothers of ATO have done several renovations to the old Delta Chi house, which include repainting and hanging up their own decor. As the ATOs settle into their new house, they're hoping for a fresh start and to be Montevallo's best. I'm Kayla Hackett, reporting for Falcon Weekly.
The ATO's old house has been purchased by the university and is being used as a campus office building until other arrangements are made. In just a few weeks of being elected SGA president, Rachel Swokowski has already sponsored a blood drive and started rewriting the SGA legislation.
Next on our to-do list is teaming with the athletic department to co-host this year's Midnight Madness. With the help of Vice President Jonathan Evans, SGA is hoping to bring more attention to athletics. The night will include giveaways, a half-court shot for a cash prize, and the return of mascot Freddie the Falcon. Be sure to come to the Student Activities Center for Midnight Madness on October 17th at 8:30. Dozens of students are missing class, and they're all reportedly sick with the same illness. Reporter Abby McNeely tells us what it is and how you can protect yourself from getting sick.
At first, I woke up with like a really sore throat, and I had chills, and I felt sore and icky, and the next day I started coughing up phlegm, and it was very uncomfortable.
In the past 2 weeks, UM students have faced a foe scarier than midterms, the Montevallo plague. This particularly nasty strain of cold has flown across campus, taking out dozens of students every day. The symptoms appear to be a combination of bronchitis, the flu, and a sinus infection. This means lots of coughing, headaches, sore throats, and heavy fatigue.
The Montevallo plague has hit hundreds of students. The class attendance levels have been dropping, while the levels of used tissues and Mucinex have been going way up.
Although the plague is a looming threat with midterms coming up, UM student Luna Shedrick has some suggestions of how best to protect yourself from the bug.
Definitely, most importantly, wake up and, you should be doing this all the time anyways, but have your lemon water. So wake up in the morning, have your lemon water, better yet, lemon tea with honey is really good. Just like raw organic honey is super, super good for throats. Garlic, really garlicky foods, really ginger, you can even juice some ginger root and take a shot of that, and it helps tremendously.
If you think you're coming down with the plague, head it off by going to health services to get checked. Also, stock up on warm drinks, soups, and cough drops. The Montevallo plague may be strong, but you can be stronger. Reporting from Falcon Weekly, I'm Abby McNeely.
You could soon be watching your favorite Netflix shows on cable. Still ahead. Hear how plans for Netflix to expand to more televisions around the world.
And find out why an NFL wide receiver's fine for wearing green shoes on the field is going to a good cause. Plus, we'll take a look at this week's forecast when Falcon Weekly returns.
Welcome back to Falcon Weekly.
Facebook has once again changed its privacy settings, this time taking away a feature that allows students to maintain more privacy. Falcon Weekly's Jordan Wales caught up with Montevallo students to see what they think about the new update.
Facebook has recently changed its privacy settings. Now anyone can search anyone through their Facebook search bar. This removes the option to hide your profile from people who didn't know you or weren't friends with you.
Well, everybody can search me anytime. I'm not private or anything. I don't have anything to hide from anyone.
I don't know if I have that enabled, but I have most of the high privacy settings.
I don't want just anyone to be able to find me on Facebook, especially if I blocked them for a reason. I don't want them to like be able to still search me.
Nobody can, as long as no one can get into like to do anything, to post anything under my name or anything like that, I didn't feel like it was anything that bad, because just say if I met someone and they wanted to find me, but I had it for only my friends to find me, then they wouldn't be able to find me, whatever. So I'd make it just more convenient for for.
This is definitely going to be a tool for future employers to see what I was actually up to.
I'm always really careful what I post on Facebook because jobs might look at it, or people I've never met before. I don't want that to be their first impression and it be negative.
You shouldn't put like, I guess, certain things on the internet or whatever. So with employers looking at your Facebooks or Twitters or whatever, then I mean, if you have something to hide, then you should just delete the page or just stop doing whatever you're doing. But
it'd be easier for jobs to search them, and they won't realize, like, if they're putting pictures of alcohol and drugs all over Facebook, a job's easily going to be able to see that, and they just don't think about that. But if they're putting them on Facebook, they probably don't realize it anyways.
Most Montevallo students had no idea that this change had even taken place, regardless of whether or not Facebook claims that they told them or that they were notified previously.
I don't think so, unless I deleted the message. I don't remember getting a message about it.
No, I didn't.
I did not.
That was Jordan Wales reporting. Although Facebook has done away with the timeline privacy feature, you will still be able to completely block Facebook users from seeing any of your activity on the site. However, if you do that, you won't be able to see any of that person's Facebook activity either.
Netflix is looking to expand its presence outside the internet. It will be available to you on your TV set sooner than you think. Netflix, the popular online video service, could soon be available through your cable box. The Wall Street Journal reports that the company is in talks with several U.S. cable providers, including Comcast, to offer its service through an app on their set-top boxes. Currently, customers who want to stream Netflix on their televisions must either have a TV with an internet connection or connect their TVs to an internet-connected device. This deal would be the first of its kind with a U.S. cable provider. It comes after a similar agreement Netflix announced with UK cable operator Virgin Media Incorporated. Chocolate lovers may have to temper their taste this holiday season as manufacturers face nearly doubled cocoa butter prices, rising demand, and bad weather in key cocoa-producing countries are pushing up the cost of key ingredients. The price of cocoa butter stands at a 4-year high, jumping 70% over the past year. Many major chocolatiers declined to comment on whether this price hike would fall on consumers, but Nestle said that an increase in price is always the last resort. According to Hershey's chief executive, however, chocoholics won't let price deter them. Pricing has grown, but sales volume has always followed suit.
Switching gears to weather, heavy rains caused severe flooding in the parts of central Texas Sunday. Water inundated roads and businesses. Officials say 6 to 8 inches of rain fell in the area. Emergency crews conducted numerous water rescues as divers were trapped in their cars by the rising waters. The floods prompted road closures and even school closures throughout the region. Now it's time to take a look at our Montevallo forecast.
Falcon Weekly's Lauren Altaffer joins us live from outside the MassCom building to give us a look at this week's weather. Lauren?
Today's high will be at around 80 with a low of 62 tonight. We started off the day with some clouds in the sky, but luckily for us it's brightened up and it will continue to stay sunny for the rest of the day. Unfortunately, this trend will not continue for the rest of the week. We'll start our days this week with cold mornings and temperatures come to the 70s with an at least 20% chance of rain each day. The higher percentages of rain come on Wednesday and Thursday. Then for Friday and Saturday, temperatures will be in the low 70s and will be mostly sunny for the weekend. Unfortunately, luckily for us here in Alabama, the rain levels, if we see any rain, it won't get near the levels of the Texas flood. And back to you guys.
Thanks, Lauren. Turning to national sports news, the son of Minnesota Vikings running back Adrian Peterson has died. Police say his son was severely beaten by his mother's boyfriend, Joseph Patterson. Sioux Falls police responded to a call Wednesday night. When officers arrived, the boy was unresponsive and was taken to a hospital where medical examiners found injuries consistent with abuse. Police arrested Patterson and charged him with aggravated battery of a child and aggravated assault. Patterson is being held on a $750,000 bond. Prosecutors say they are considering additional charges.
Chicago Bears wide receiver Brandon Marshall will receive a fine for violating the NFL's uniform rules.
Marshall wore a green pair of shoes in the game against the New York Giants last Thursday night. During the month where many players wear pink to support breast cancer awareness, Marshall wore the green shoes in honor of Mental Health Awareness Week and to support his charity, the Brandon Marshall Foundation. The NFL is expected to fine Marshall $5,250 for the uniform violation. The wide receiver has decided to match the NFL's fine with a donation to his charity.
Falcon Weekly's Amanda Metcalf joins us now for a preview of college sports.
What's going on in the world of sports, Amanda?
Lots of college football action. The Tide trumps Kentucky, and now the Auburn Tigers are back in the national ratings. Plus, we'll take a look at some cross-country action from right here on the UM campus. Sports is next. Welcome back to Falcon Weekly. I'm Amanda Metcalf with a look at this week's sports. Montevallo senior David Smith led the cross-country team to a runner-up finish in the second annual Falcon Classic this past Saturday. The University of West Alabama claimed the team championship with Spring Hill College claiming third. Smith finished the 8K race with a time of 27 minutes and 59 seconds, which left him just outside of the top 10 fastest times in the school history. On the women's team, Cheyenne Thompson led the Falcons to an overall third-place finish. The Falcons returned Saturday, October 26th, in the Peach Belt Conference Championship meet hosted by Georgia Southwestern State University in Americus, Georgia. The women's soccer team lost to the University of North Georgia Wednesday, while the men's soccer team defeated North Georgia. The women's soccer team fell to the Nighthawks Wednesday with a 0-3 loss. The Nighthawks scored a goal and kept the lead through the first half. In the second half, the Nighthawks scored twice. The men's soccer team defeated the Nighthawks with a 3-1 win. Alex Morton scored the first goal of the game. Bruno Mbalama scored the second goal of the game, giving Montevallo a 2-0 lead. Right before halftime, the Nighthawks were awarded a penalty kick, but UM's Gary O'Neill scored and got Montevallo's lead back. Switching gears to college football, Alabama won against Kentucky Saturday with a 41-point win. After a slow start by the Tide, McCarron got the offense going by heading downfield and hitting Kevin Norwood, who made a 42-yard gain. Later in the quarter, McCarron handed to T.J. Yeldon, who outran the defense to the end zone. In the early third quarter, Yeldon got the ball, only to be hit by a defender, but then he escaped. Then he spun past the others and was able to score a touchdown. The final score was 48-7. Auburn is now a ranking team. For the first time since 2011, the Tigers are ranked 24th in the AP poll. In Saturday's homecoming game against Western Carolina, the Tigers dominated with a 62-3 smackdown. That's all for this week's sports. Be sure to tune in this Thursday night for a live edition of Falcon Fever from Midnight Madness. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Amanda. That's all the time we have for this week's show. Thank you for joining us.
For more UN news, be sure to check out the Falcon News Network blog. The web address is on your screen. We'll see you again next week.